In ancient Greece, in the mountainous heart of the Phocis region, a city called Delphi emerged. The region, covered with thick forests and shrouded in mists, was under the protection of Gaia, the primordial goddess of Mother Earth. It was a corner of the world where the ancient and the elemental held sway and was protected by the giant serpent called the Python. With its scales glistening in the sun, this being was feared by many because of its immense size and ferocity. Python had a sacred duty to protect the Omphalos, most known as the center of the world, a powerful place that was said to be the connecting point between the heavens and the earth. However, the landscape of Delphi was destined to change with the arrival of Apollo, son of Zeus and Leto. Apollo, being a young god full of vigor and confidence, desired a place to establish his oracle, a place where he could impart wisdom and guidance to mankind. He decided that Delphi, with its position at the center of the world, would be the perfect place. The confrontation between Apollo and Python was titanic. The mountains echoed with the collision of divine and monstrous power. Finally, with an accurate arrow, Apollo defeated the great serpent, freeing Delphi from its dark guardian. As a tribute to his victory, and to purify the site of Python's influence, Apollo established his temple on that site. This act not only marked the reclamation of Delphi for the sun god, but also the beginning of a new era where light, art, music, and prophecy would flourish. The name Python, however, would not be forgotten. In honor of the defiance and the defeated guardian, Apollo's priestesses would take the name Pythonistas, becoming the voices of the god and bringing his wisdom to the mortal world. Soon after, in the heart of the sanctuary of Apollo, inside the majestic temple of Delphi, was the sacred chamber of the oracle. Not just any woman could be a Pythonist. A special combination of virtue, devotion, and ability to connect with the divine was required. Before serving, a Pythoness had to purify herself rigorously, both physically and spiritually. Their life was dedicated, their actions and words surrounded by a halo of mysticism and reverence. Dressed in simple robes, these women were the link between mortals and the god Apollo. The prophetic ceremony had a strict ritual. The Pythoness, after purifying herself, went to the Ataton, the most sacred core of the temple. Sitting on a special tripod, located just above a crack in the ground, she inhaled the mystical vapors rising from the depths of the earth. These vapors, it was believed, were sent by Apollo and could induce the Pythoness into a prophetic trance. In this altered state of consciousness, the Pythoness would mutter words, often incoherent or cryptic, which were interpreted by specialized priests. These priests were tasked with converting the Pythoness ramblings into understandable answers for those seeking the oracle's guidance. Over time, the process took on a more formal structure. Consultants were expected to offer gifts or sacrifices to Apollo and submit their questions in writing. The answers, once interpreted, were also delivered in writing, adding an aura of permanence and gravity to the prophecy. The position of Pythoness was one of high prestige, but also great responsibility. The pressure of serving as the mouth of a god could be immense. Despite this, many women aspired to serve as Pythonistas, as it was a role that gave them an almost divine status in society. The influence of the Oracle of Delphi grew exponentially as news of its accurate, if enigmatic, predictions spread. It was not simply a mystical cave on Mount Parnassus. It became the spiritual and political epicenter of ancient Greece. Decisions made based on his predictions could alter the course of city-states, determine the outcome of wars, and shape the destiny of many. Pilgrims traveled from afar, bringing with them offerings and hopes of receiving a clear vision of the future. Before asking questions of the oracle, rituals and sacrifices were often performed in honor of Apollo to gain his favor. However, the answers given by the Pythoness were rarely straightforward. These prophecies were shrouded in cryptic verses that required careful interpretation. Such was the case of King Croesus of Lydia, who misinterpreted the prophecy about destroying a great empire and sealed his fate. Another case was that of the legendary Spartan king, Leonidas. Before the Battle of Thermopylae, the oracle predicted that Sparta would fall to the Persians unless a Spartan king died. Leonidas interpreted this as his destiny, and, despite being at a great numerical disadvantage, chose to engage the Persian army, where he finally met his heroic end. The oracle's power and influence also had a dark side. Cities often sought her blessing before making important decisions, which gave the Pythonists and the priests around her considerable influence over political and military affairs. This led to speculation and accusations of bribery and corruption, although faith in the oracle generally remained unchanged. In the end, the true power of the Delphic oracle lay in its ability to connect mortals with the divine, offering them a glimpse, however veiled, into the intricate fabric of destiny. However, as the stories of those who sought their advice repeatedly demonstrated, correctly interpreting these visions was a challenge in itself, and the results of acting on these prophecies could be as unpredictable as the equivalent future. As the oracle's fame grew, grateful leaders and citizens began to make opulent offerings. These donations, which were often statues, tripods, and other valuable artifacts, were stored in treasuries, small buildings erected by different polis or regions. The most famous of these, the treasury of the Athenians, was built to commemorate their victory at the Battle of Marathon. These treasuries became a testament to the devotion and wealth of city-states seeking divine favor. Every 4 years, the landscape of Delphi was transformed into the setting for the Pythian Games. These games, similar in prestige to the Olympic Games, were a mixture of athletic competitions, musical events, and literary contests. Athletes from all over Greece came to compete in running, wrestling, pugilism, and pentathlon, while musicians and poets faced off in duels of skill and creativity. The winners not only received a laurel wreath as a symbol of their triumph, but also recognition and fame throughout Greece. Apart from the Pythian Games, Delphi was also the scene of numerous festivals celebrating music, art, and dance. The theater of Delphi hosted dramatic performances that attracted crowds. During these occasions, political tensions were put aside, and the city became a meeting point where culture and spirituality intertwined. The importance of Delphi transcended its oracular function. It became a place where Greeks could connect, beyond the alliances and enmities of their respective polis. Delphi was a testament to what Hellenic culture was best at: the combination of the pursuit of physical and artistic excellence, the yearning for spiritual understanding, and the desire for community. As the centuries progressed, the world was constantly changing, and the Oracle of Delphi was no exception. Although it had been a constant source of wisdom and guidance for generations, several circumstances converged to mark the beginning of its decline. As philosophy and logic became more deeply rooted in Greek society, many began to question the authenticity of the oracle's prophecies. They argued that the cryptic and often vague answers of the Pythonists could be interpreted in many ways, and that the real power lay in the hands of the priests who interpreted her words. These doubts undermined the absolute faith that many had placed in Delphi. The Greek city-states, always in competition with each other, often sought the approval and blessing of the oracle for their campaigns and enterprises. However, when the prophecies did not favor their interests, some leaders began to openly discredit the oracle and establish other centers of worship and divination as a counterbalance. With the expansion of the Roman Empire and the subsequent adoption of Christianity as the official religion, paganism and its practices fell out of favor. Christian leaders viewed ancient pagan rituals and temples, including the Delphic oracle, with suspicion. Priestesses, once revered as spokeswomen for a god, were now seen as heretics and worshippers of false gods. As Christianity took hold, visits to the oracle declined and the temple was finally closed by imperial decree in the 4th century AD. With the temple closed and the practice of divination frowned upon, Delphi was slowly abandoned. The majestic buildings that once echoed with the words of gods and men were consumed by nature, and the stories of the oracle became legends, their truths buried in time. Despite its eventual demise, the impact of the Delphic oracle on ancient Greece and subsequent civilizations was profound. The oracle's influence transcended the religious and mystical realm and came to shape rulers' decisions, influence art, and inspire philosophers and thinkers. The famous phrase, "Know thyself," inscribed on the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, was not only a guide for those seeking answers from the oracle but also became a cornerstone of Greek philosophy. Socrates, one of history's most prominent philosophers, echoed this call for self-knowledge, postulating that a true understanding of the world began with an understanding of oneself. Delphi became a meeting place for those in search of wisdom. Many travelers, writers, and artists visited the site, taking the teachings and stories of the oracle with them to faraway places. In this way, what was once a sacred corner in the heart of Greece became a beacon of knowledge that enlightened generations to come.